You know how all these people who do functional medicine are like, fix your gut, do a parasite cleanse, fix your gut's the most important, your gut is the key to your health. Let me explain. This weekend I got sent a photo of somebody's TikTok profile and an explanation of her case. And this, by the way, happens to me a lot. People want my input. And for this case in particular, all I can say is they are going to have to work on her gut. But this is true so many other times too, that it's kind of like a broken record at this point. You have to fix the gut. The health of your mood, the health of your hormones, the health of your entire system is dependent on your gut working well. So the story that gets sent to me is this woman here on TikTok is looking for help and support because a couple years ago she had a intestinal torsion that led to intestinal rupturing. At the end of a pregnancy, baby's okay. Mom's doing fair to moderate for the last couple years, but for the last 2 to 3 months, she's been in the hospital because her copper is dangerously low. And they're doing infusions, but they're not working. And let me explain to you how your gut plays a role in this. So they're doing copper infusions knowing that the place where copper is most readily absorbed, well, maybe they don't know this, but they should. The place where copper is most readily absorbed in the body and then redistributed is in the gut. Any dietary copper that you take in has to be broken down by hydrochloric acid from whatever it's attached to. Meaning if you're on a stomach acid inhibitor, if you're on a PPI, if you're on something to help your GERD, you are probably copper deficient. And most of you probably had too low stomach acid to begin with. They just put you on GERD medication because that's the standard of practice without actually testing to see if your stomach acid is too high or too low, because a base burns hotter than an acid. So after copper gets cleaved off of whatever it's attached to in the stomach, it gets dumped into the upper part of the small intestine where there's little receptors for copper that bind the copper and then take it everywhere else in the system and deposit it where it's needed. Without these little receptors in the duodenum, you cannot absorb copper. These little transporters are called CTR1 and DTR1, and they are only in the duodenum and the ileum, which is the upper part of the small intestine. They bind copper, take it into the bloodstream, release it into the bloodstream so it can do its job. And then the bloodstream takes it to the liver, and the liver gives it to bile. So the tagging me in the video and asking me, can you help her? How would you help her? The text message that this would be the greatest case of your life if you could help this woman. You have to find a way to find those transporters elsewhere in the body, but 98% of them are in the duodenum and in the ileum. So the gut has to work. When your intestines rupture, they've probably now got you on a ton of meds, and even thyroid meds decrease your ability to produce specific enzymes and have a correct balance of hydrochloric acid in the stomach. So the chance that she ever has a proper copper balance again is pretty dang low. Especially, and again, I don't know her specific story, but when things go wrong with the gut, they tend to decrease the amount of animal protein that you're taking in, and one of the things that copper will bind to is albumin from animal protein. It is reduced in absorption by phytates that come from a vegan lifestyle. In the human body, copper is used for the brain, it's used for ATP production, it's used to bind iron, it's used to help the immune system, and it's used for bone health and connective tissue health. Without it, you have no energy, you feel like you have a ton of brain fog, and you become anemic. And then you can't even bind iron if they give it to you because you lack the ability to absorb copper if your gut doesn't work. So when we say fix your gut, we mean fix your gut. Now, in the case where you're missing part of your intestines, fixing that becomes a lot more difficult. And when most people consider like loss of the gut, they think about the colon or like having a colostomy. But some people, I'm assuming this woman, lose parts of their small intestine and no one thinks anything of it until we have something show up like copper deficiency. If you're not sure if you have gut issues, here are some symptoms you might be experiencing: gas, bloating, fatigue after a meal, dry skin that's scaly and patchy, eczema, psoriasis, your eyesight not working as well as it did 10 days ago, headaches, feeling just generally depleted, and not sleeping well. Those are all symptoms that your gut's not working well. Another one that can be super, super like here's in your face, if your tongue has a coating on it at all and it's not bright pink, that is a sign that you have something going wrong in your gut. Please fix your gut. If you're interested in getting more information about how I work with people, you can always join my email list by hitting this contact us button. I'll also link there. I have 3 different cookbooks, 2 specifically on fixing your gut health, that are in my TikTok shop. I will link those here too.